Many thanks for staying tuned. It's still the conversation here on Lagos Television. Nigeria is pushing for a renewed message of Think Nigeria First, a call for citizens and institutions and leaders to prioritize Nigerian values, products, talents, and interest in their decisions. But beyond the slogan, how can we reorientate a nation, especially the mindset of a nation such as Nigeria and Nigerians? That is a conversation on the program today. And joining our conversation is Professor of Entrepreneurship and Development Communication with 3 decades of exposure in the academics, private and public sectors, Professor Rotimi Oladele. Thank you so much, Professor, for being here on the program this morning. Well, let's start with your expertise as a PR person and look at the concept. And so if we'd like to break it down, especially at this particular point in time that Nigeria is facing myriads of challenges, if you'd like to first look at what this concept is really all about, Think Nigeria First, before we talk about the reorientation process itself, what exactly can you deduce from this acronym or from this catchword, Think Nigeria First?
Well, it is clear, it's suggestive of the fact that we have lost focus. And we all agreed we have.
Okay.
That's why we accept the slogan.
Right.
And that slogan is a call bell to getting back to position. Position of what? Position of integrity, position of obedience, position of hard work, position of respect for elders, position of virtue, not money. So all those virtues we've left behind. So that team is asking us to go back to them.
Okay.
And to go back to them, we need to address the foundation. We need to address strategy. We need to address system. And of course, we need to address a lot of tactics.
Right. So before we look at how to address all of these issues that you've mentioned, and like you said, that there's an agreement or there's a consensus that actually there has been missteps and we must trace back to where those missteps came from. But if we're now adding the reorientation, it means that this is where the work really is, because to orientate a people, it will take different things, different approaches, different ways to appeal to the minds of different people, because again, we all do not see things in the same perspective. We all do not see things in the same manner. And so if we're talking about reorientation, what are some of the basic things that government itself needs to realize before we start this reorientation? Where do we start from?
Well, I will call that aspect rediscovery.
Rather than reorientation.
Yeah, self-rediscovery. Our politicians in particular need to
rediscover.
Yeah, rediscovered. If they are really loyal to that and committed to that very theme that the government has given us, it will start from them.
Okay.
Because policy that makes education, policy that makes administration, policy that makes health, politics that make productivity, everything will have to be rolled out from the mindset. And the issue of just going to anything without being sure of what it is gone. If you look at our education in the last 30 years, the result of what we are seeing today was planted during that era. I always continue to remind us about our primary education. Before 1976, our primary education was the most holistic reorientation that we all received. You remember those poems,
those songs,
that folklore that we normally inject into children under 10.
Right.
By the time he's 10 years old, he or she is conscious of nationality.
Right.
He's aware I'm a Nigerian. He's aware I'm a Yoruba man, I'm an Urobo, I'm this, I'm that. Cultural affiliation comes easily with virtues. Even when we speak different languages,
right.
An Igbo man wants his child not to be a thief. A Yoruba man wants his child not to be a thief.
Right.
Hausa man. So at the end of the day, no matter what language we use to drive virtue, we get virtue.
Right.
We bake it in a big size. We slice it and share, and nation moves on.
Right.
Without robbery, without this, without that, all those kind of vices. Because if you steal, your parents will not be able to come out during the day. Not even you that stole. So that was where we were.
Right.
So reorientation means we have to drop everything that are alien to our culture, our behavior, and then go back to the original. As at that time, nobody wants to know whether you're a Muslim or a Christian.
Right.
But because of trivial needs we can no longer afford, we have become slaves of paternalistic behavior that will not help tomorrow. And our tomorrow is here. Because the children that we have now put through that education that could not fetch them virtue, they are now the leaders. And you see that the rating of their virtue is expensive cars, homes that are only on Banana Island. Once you are not in Banana Island, you've not arrived.
Right.
So all those wrong benchmarks came in because there was total neglect of real education,
Right.
which is virtue.
Okay. So, Prof, let's just backtrack a bit from where you started this response from, and you said the politicians must start this self-discovery, like you put it.
Yes.
But then let's also look at them, because again, this particular slogan is coming from the government, and the government largely is made of politicians. And so, in your perspective, as much as you're looking forward to this being a self-recovery, which will lead into some kind of reorientation of the mindset of the larger populace, do you see this as a branding or a step towards behavioral pattern as it stands? Well,
if you look at it as a set goal, it's branding. If you look at it as the other side you just mentioned, that will not be branding. That will just be our usual. We are used to having slogans. It will come and it will go. But if we take it as a brand, we then have to look at a politician who is a counselor in your ward. What is he going to sacrifice to make that ward feel better as a learning point, a learning platform for the children that word is bringing to life? You see, it's not an easy task, and it has to be commitment from everybody. Take, for example, our education. We have to go back to the primary system and build a formidable learning system that will build self-reliant Nigerian of tomorrow. If we don't do that, there is no short corner we take that will not boomerang. You can see our tertiary institution. You can see what is happening. All the parastatals in education last year and this year had a very difficult time to manage because of the result the society has given to them. So it is not somebody's fault. It is all our fault.
Right.
Those who had money forgot about those who didn't have money, threw their own children into the best school all over the world, from primary to everything. So these people don't believe there is a poor person, because they never met one on the road of growth. Everything was easy, everything was perfect, everything was. So a 10-year-old child can say, "Mommy, I don't want that green car, I want the red one." Tomorrow he say, "No, I don't want the red one to take me to school. I want." Why? Affordability, which was not permeative, is only located within a class.
Right.
And before you know it, there's no no
middle class anymore. So it's either you're rich or you're poor.
Yes.
Right. So how do we build a national image and identity with this slogan, if indeed the political class and every Nigerian? Before I come to that, let's come to how do we get Nigerians ourselves to buy into this slogan, to buy into this project? It's one thing for government to have a mindset and wanting to push that narrative. Is another thing for the people to believe in that narrative and want to also push through. But like you rightly pointed out, there's the disparity. It's either you're up there or you're down there. And of course, those who are down there also want to, at all means, get into that position where they also can call the shots. So as we speak, as a country, how do we get Nigerians to also believe in this slogan as much as the federal government intends to push the narrative of putting Nigeria first?
Well, I think first of all, I would like to appreciate the initiative, and for a government to come with that kind of initiative means sincerity, and it also means readiness to do the job. And of course, there comes the third one you just mentioned: how. How can only be done by we, all of us. But we cannot have the same leverage of position and finance to do it. But at whatever level you find yourself as a Nigerian, make up your mind to be a representative of this nation. Make up your mind to be an ambassador of your own family. Make sure that it is not all that glitters you are pursuing.
Okay.
Because not all will be gold. If you don't give your children reality of life as basic understanding of life itself, they will not be wise. And if they are not wise, they cannot take decisions.
Right.
If they cannot take decisions, they cannot impact positively on the society within which they live. So it is a philosophical kind of challenge, psychological kind of challenge, sociological kind of challenge, and we must achieve it. Because if you look at the Rwanda history,
genocide, right?
You can imagine what happened from genocide to through democracy. So it is. I want first of all every Nigerian to believe that it's doable. Okay. And I want us to know that it may cost money, cost life not in times of war. Hunger will kill some people are already dead now because of hunger. Right. So more will still die. But if we are committed, we can do it. The slogan is just a reminder. It's a reminder media. And it does not mean that it will do it itself. Collaboration is necessary. Like I said, our primary education is the foundation. We should go back there and see. When I was in primary 3, I must weave a basket to submit as my artwork for the week. Failure to do that, they give you 3 or 4 strokes of the cane, and you go back and do the basket.
Right.
What is anybody doing at primary level today as artwork or occupation or whatever you call it? Even
we are growing beans, so.
I see. It's on Atlantic.
We are growing beans in a can.
Okay.
So just aside, it's part of it.
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to what you've said, that it's a conscious effort. Everybody has to be involved. Now, this is where I'd also like for us to look at, as going back to start, especially catching them young. What role would parents play here? Because we've always said the home is the foundation of the society, and we need to also begin to respect the role that parents and stable homes play in, of course, helping us realize this particular dream that we're talking about. You've also said, at least while your generation was growing up, I'm sure that my generation also witnessed a bit that but before you're 10, morals, culture, certain things that definitely you cannot do it. And we also grew up in a communal setting where everybody was your parent.
Yeah.
If one parent beats you, be rest assured that you will not you can't report it.
You will get more.
You will get more. But I mean, these days, a neighbor cannot even reprimand your child. You will go there.
Teacher.
You will go there with an army of people to fight. So let's go back to the homes. What role will the homes play here? You cannot give what you do not have. So as parents, what must we begin to do to ensure that at least, let us start from the home setting, the basics. As we talk about homes, let's also talk about churches, talk about mosques, talk about communities. How can we all be part of the system at ensuring that this Think Nigeria First reorientation or self-discovery is also part and parcel of us as a people?
Well, when you say home or say parents, my mind cuts.
Right.
The reason is because the sanctity of the home, the quality of products of the home of yesteryears, I can't find them. And this is a terrible challenge to a nation.
Right.
When somebody cannot be trusted in anything, a lot of lies in simple matter. You know, when we were growing up, if you tell lies, they will now call your ex-colleagues to surround you, then sing for you. And when they sing negative song, you see yourself as another, and they say,
like an alien.
They say, well, you still have a remedy. Stop it.
Right.
And then we will tell your colleagues to accept you. The school of the home is not physical. It doesn't end in physical walls. There's a lot power in socialization process. Like, oh, you are not a big girl. You are 14. Ah, you are a big girl. So you know now you have to dress well. You don't need to have to open your body and so on. And that's a school is going on. There are multilateral schools to develop society. The one for gender, the one for culture, the one for learning, the one for creativity, the one for those who really want to go into religion and so, like you said. But no religion in Nigeria had ever worked against each other until recently.
Right.
If a Muslim tell you this is the truth, when a Christian comes there, I will say yes, that is the truth. Then the traditional worshipper will come and say, yes, that is exactly what Ifa is saying. That was where we were coming from. But now you are a suspect, I'm a suspect.
Right.
So we need to go back to our educational system. Our curriculum must be functional. It must be practical. It must be testable, that you can do this, you can do this, you can do that. Most of the things we import from China, they are just designed by secondary school and primary school pupils. If you go to jail as a teenager in China, they send you to a technical college in the prison for 3 or 4 years. When you come out, they give you some dollars. I used to remember it was like $3,000 years back, but now I don't know. They give you and say, go to Africa and practice this business. So you see furniture, this, that, coming from China and so on. It is a policy. Because, and the structure is built to maintain the policy. We need to use, like I said earlier, I mentioned we have to get a befitting policy on our educational system, health system, community system, productivity system. Look at our medicals. We have no reason to be spending large sum of money on pharmaceuticals. With our vegetation,
right,
with herbs, it's development we need. We have all the all the materials.
Right, the raw materials.
Yeah, the raw materials are here. Look at all these people selling supplements.
Right.
They use our own
herbs
to produce it, and then they sell it back to us.
Right.
So that is exactly what I'm saying. But if we have functional education, and somebody who read botany or zoology can tell us this and this will work, pharmacologists now come in and all of them work together,
produce.
We should be able to set the kind of target I'm talking about. Pharmaceutical importation reduced to 15% in the
and
next 5 years.
Then that will also help.
Then we start. Then there will be focus.
Prof, I like how you've navigated this conversation, and this is part of what we're talking about. Of course, if we're thinking Nigeria first, we also need to be able to consume our products. Yeah. Half of the population, even those that are down there that you think do not have, they still have a penchant for imported products. And so we still tell you that if it is not imported, it is not original.
Yes.
So how do we also begin to get into the mindsets of such a people that if we're talking of promoting Nigeria, we must also begin to own our own production here, and we must begin to buy and believe in our own locally made products?
Yes. You remember I mentioned that it's a psychological war, sociological war, and philosophical war. Taking the psychological aspect of it, which is individualistic, the sociological is group. When you look at the way we consume, we are impulse buyers. 80% of Nigerians are impulse buyers. I have money, I buy. They may not even need it.
Right.
And they may also need it because their friends are
also having access to that.
Yes, class problem. That's where I belong. We must have. So that is why you see, even now, somebody has money, he takes 50 million and then just make noise with it. I want to be known. I'm known now in Lagos. I want to be known in Port Harcourt, and he spent. But what we really need now is how can everybody account for what he is having genuinely, and what does he do with it?
Okay.
It is not government trying to run your thing for you, but it's a matter of accountability, credibility, and integrity.
Right.
The thing built into every operation, and anything. Look at India. When India wanted to develop the automobile, what they did was to ban importation of automobiles.
Right.
But if you must buy, when you buy a car for $3,000, you will pay $6,000
to bring it in.
Yes. Tariff or cost or whatever they call it. So who will now do that? Then you see them buying Tata. Everybody rides on Tata, and then now it's growing. We were together in 60s, India, Nigeria, riding bicycles on all our roads. But as at today, before you point out to one car that Nigeria is making, India can give you about 10 brands.
Right.
So it is important that we know that we must make sacrifice, and it must be individualistic, it must be in groups, and it also must be motivated by the kind of education we are giving. It has to be enhanced also by the lifestyle we are living. Because today we believe so much in money. We have monetized everything. That's why we are now putting price tag on our own brothers and sisters through kidnapping.
Prof, I mean, this is a government project, and government intends to ensure that this is institutionalized. But then how can government also begin to walk the talk, and this is not seen just as a propaganda, but as you said it, you'd like to commence the initiative, but then how it will also work well will largely depend on the drivers, of course, which is the government. So how does government ensure that this is not just mere talk, and we see that government in itself and government representative establishment are also prioritizing the Think Nigeria First policy? An example, this is an aside, but then I'm just going to use it as an example, looking at the ongoing allegation by Aliko Dangote on the NMDRP boss, who of course has been alleged to pay thousands of dollars for his children schooling abroad. This is as a government official, and we're talking about buying things Nigeria, promoting what is ours. And so if we continue to see our public officials send their children to school abroad, why then would an average Nigerian want to also go to a Nigerian or a public university? So I'm asking, how does government ensure that this is not just propaganda, it is not just mere talk? Government also needs to lead by example.
Yeah. I just mentioned a few minutes ago about the need for asking you about your money and what you are doing with it. And I said it's not about regulating your individual purse,
right,
but it's about building a society of people
trust,
with integrity, trust, and reliability. If you look at it, you discover that majority of people doing that may not have their money legitimately. Because to sweat and get money, you need to sit down again and think about it. And then they are not people with mindset of sustainability, that this thing can it continue forever, even in my absence. Somebody's name is Mercedes Benz. It's the name of a person, but he initiated that automobile. Right. And today, the product is on the road. Somebody's name is Guinness. And the product is on. So if you look at the kind of strategies we use to drive our own policy, it is too weak. Government should look into that. Number two, when we talk about reorientation, that is giving fresh knowledge. Knowledge that can drive today's challenges. Because you must be able to have what it takes to manage today before you think of what to manage tomorrow. Right. Then you must look at what you used to manage yesterday. And why did yesterday fail? Or why did yesterday succeed? Right. So if we do this at every level, we may be able to get some answer to how do we do it. But most importantly, government cannot do it alone. Right. So this is where the political structure must help government. The ward must help the local government. The local government must help the state. The state must help the federal ministry. Federal ministry must help the parastatals. And of course, the presidency must help the National Assembly. National Assembly must also. Let me give you a good example of what I'm saying. Go to any local government in Nigeria, you cannot see councillor for entrepreneurship or councillor for small business. But you move out of Nigeria, go to Republic of Benin, what do you see? Minister for small business. Because it is recognized that small business is the drivers of the economy. Right. So we can't leave it fallow. At that level, at the grassroots level, we must
protect their interests as well.
Either by nursery system, that is, you allow about 30 to grow together. Then you transplant. So that's what they do. And the same thing, all the nations that have developed, they must have a particular strength of strategy and policy that made them. For our own case, we need such things. And our population favors it. We are many, and we are diversified, and we have the resources. So that is where the issue of policy, strategy, structure, and system
they come to play. But realistically, how long does national reorientation take, or self-discovery, like you rightly mentioned?
Well, national orientation is forever.
It's forever.
Yeah, it is actually reinforced. It is actually, in one of my writers, I refer to it as vision auditing. You audit your vision. The vision our great fathers had and led for, are we still doing it? The elements of that vision, are they alive? Do we practice them? Do we also renew them? So this reorientation is a call for that kind of, and as I said, at all levels. at all levels.
Right. But looking at the PR strategy to achieve this particular policy, would you think that it is one that should be policy or communication based?
Definitely, I can see that in the structure of today's government. And you could see that the time we were making a lot of noise that government should patronize, that philosophy of reputation building and management is getting lower because government is doing certain things that is getting right. Look at the collaboration between the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations and the federal government. Now, Nigeria is hosting the entire world next year, November. Everybody practicing public relations in the whole world will be in Nigeria, or we are hosting. And this is the first time such is happening.
Right.
So that is a good development. However, we are still short of where every organization has a professional practitioner, like in US. Once you see president and CEO, the next you see is either president, reputation or corporate affairs, or finance. So it's either number 2 or number 3, showing the importance.
Right.
Because if you don't have good behavior, you don't have good image, you are producing anything, nobody is going to buy.
To see it
and reputation is like a balloon. When you blow it up, it's very beautiful.
Right.
Children will love it. Adults will play with children with it. But when you take a needle
and then you
puncture it, the whole thing is gone. That is just the danger.
At the moment we see the little strides. I'll say little because it's still quite little. The little strides of the National Orientation Agency, at least, is better than what we used to have. What should that agency be strengthened to do, and how do we also ensure that the messages from the National Orientation Agency is also cascaded to the grassroots in all the languages that can be understood?
Well, to start with, the National Orientation Agency is trying. Like you said, it's better than before, but we still have a lot more we can do. There should be synergy. There should be collaboration between National Orientation Agency and the various ministries. Every ministry should be able to bring forth the agenda for the need for reorientation at its own platform. That of trade and industry is different from that of finance. Finance different from any other one. So there must be 4 burners.
Okay.
The burners that in the front trying to roast the meat for us. And it is the National Orientation Agency that's supposed to coordinate that, working with other relevant agencies and professional bodies. Because if you look at our professional bodies in this era, we should be seeing more featuring and engagement of public relations, advertising and marketing. And all those have professional bodies.
Okay.
And then we shouldn't think it's only their own product they should be marketed. They should market Nigeria.
Right.
Nigeria is a brand that requires daily nurturing. Yes, and it is when we do it better that it can give back to us.
Right.
If our decisions are right and synergies are okay, issue of fake products that has killed so many Nigerians wouldn't have been so bad.
Right. So what also looking at your PR expertise here, what are avoidable mistakes that's in this rebranding process or rediscovery reorientation process that government must avoid?
First of all, neglect of professionals and employment of quacks is as bad as fake product. So it's as bad as fake product.
Okay.
And then apart from that also, when you do not give equal treatment to all equals, it is another challenge. If somebody is a public relation person or advertising person, then you pay the other professionals level 17 or level 16, and then you now pay your other colleagues in communication level 12 or 14.
Right.
It is lack of
so the disparity itself is
yes, I'm sure that Nigerians of public relations and the Federal Ministry of Information are getting over that now. But I'm not too sure if it's the same with the other professional bodies. So it is important that equal treatment is given to all equals.
So, well, as we wrap up this conversation this morning, what would you say that Nigeria must get right for the Think Nigeria First reorientation to succeed?
We must first of all recognize, celebrate, and sustain achievers. We are not doing that enough, and it's a big PR flaw. Take, for example, when our sport people and creatives, musicians, go abroad and win whatever, you will discover that they are celebrated longer in time duration than Nigeria that actually own them.
Right.
I can give so many examples, but it is important. And this is where media and public relations will share part of the blame.
Right.
So because if you don't promote them, okay, look at last week, 14 Nigerians or 12 were arrested for fraud in Ghana. They said they are doing 419.
Right.
So in Ghana. Within 3 days, that news went to everywhere. Within that time and now, are there no Nigerians making heavy, greater, global
great
achievements all over? Who is mentioning them? Nobody.
Right. So we train for the bad news.
We need developmental journalism. This is the era. We are not saying cover them up. Don't let people know. No. But we are saying that if you give one page to crime issues,
right,
and you give one line
to achievements,
it is not considerate.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, we would have to leave this conversation here this morning, and of course we've been speaking with Professor of Entrepreneurship and Development Communication, and he's helped us to take a look at this very important conversation this morning, where we're looking at how Nigerians can have a orientated mindset on thinking Nigeria first and putting Nigeria first in all that we do. Thank you so much, Professor Rotimi Oladele, for finding time to be with us on the program this morning. That's the much we'll take on this side of the table. We'll take a quick break. When the conversation returns, Joy will be here with her Lagos conversation.